volkswagenbank.ie/PCP. PCP is offered by Volkswagen Bank GmbH Branch Ireland, authorised by the Federal Financial Supervisory Authority in Germany and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Terms and conditions apply.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
So lots of very happy Leinster fans this afternoon because they have confirmed the news that their former number 10 and Heineken Cup winner Felipe Contepomi is to take up the position of Leinster backs coach. And I'm delighted to say that Felipe has made some time for us from, I presume, Buenos Aires. Felipe, you're there?
Yeah, I'm in Buenos Aires.
So you can't stay away from Dublin?
No, I'm missing the cold weather and the drizzle rain. Yeah, no, it's great to be back in Dublin.
You'll be delighted to know we're having a heat wave at the moment, so temperatures of 30 degrees over the next 2 weeks, but then miserable and rainy again.
Just for when I come.
Yeah. So, how long ago did you realise that this may be a possibility, your arrival at Leinster?
No, to be honest, it's all been quite quick, and I was involved here with the union, with the Argentinian rugby union, in more of in the third team. It's Argentina 15, a developing team, and the opportunity came, and Leo Cullen. I spoke with Leo Cullen. He gave me a call, and Stuart Lancaster, and then I spoke to Johnny, and to be honest, I've never expected such opportunity, but when it came forward, I think it was a great chance for me, because I know the team. I know not the team itself, but I know Leinster. I know the city, and I know the people that are running there the show. So for me, it was a great place to go.
Who do you talk to amongst your family or friends in Buenos Aires when the offer comes in? Who do you have to consult with?
No, first of all with my wife, and then with my kids, because obviously they are going to stay with their mother here in Argentina. So it's a big step to go to be a part in terms of time and so on. But then it was obviously ask the union for a release, for them to release me and be able to. I'm free to come to Leinster, but it's more of a decision. It's a career decision, and I think it's a great decision.
Yeah, no doubt, a very appealing thing to go and play with or to coach Leinster at the moment, given all the success. Did you hesitate? It's a huge thing to leave your family behind, I'm sure.
Well, you don't leave them. It's more of I know that maybe you're a few thousand kilometers away from my kids, but nowadays you are in contact every day, and for me it's more important to be and to know what's going on with them, and to have a good dialogue and be able to talk and be on the everyday problems or everyday happiness of themselves, rather than just being beside them and maybe not knowing what's going on. So it's more about communication and being able to be on the day to day, and for me, and I think it's a challenge, but it's a great from both sides, from the kids and from myself.
When do you arrive in Dublin? How quickly will all this happen now?
Hopefully in 2-3 weeks' time.
When you spoke with Leo Cullen and Stuart Lancaster and Johnny, are they big, in-depth conversations about tactics that you like and coaching philosophies that you have and your ideas for the team? Or are they pretty short conversations, as in, would you like to come and do this? We'll figure it out when you get here. What's the nature of those conversations?
No. I think obviously there were 3 different conversations. I think I know Leo from previous years, from when we were players and so on. So it was a different conversation. I think it was more of the desire with him, and also he more so he explained what's going on Leinster and things that maybe have changed from the days I was there as a player and so on. And with Stuart, whom I've never worked with, but I know him from his reputation. I think he was more interested in my philosophy of rugby and some other more strategic and some other things. And with Johnny, obviously, I know him well and kept in touch. So it was more on a catch-up base and also told me what was going on and how has been this last successful year. And so it was different conversations, but all of them in obviously focusing on the Leinster way and where's the club going and where's the team going, you know.
Yeah, I guess things are in pretty good shape at the moment. When Stuart Lancaster, say, asks you what is, I suppose, a broad question, you know, what is your rugby philosophy, for want of a better way of putting it, what kind of things do you say to him? Like, do you have one? Because you're not coaching that long. I know you've been around the game a long time. Are you still figuring that out as a coach, or were you able to give him a fairly definite answer on how you see the game?
No, for me, the most important thing as a coach is to understand the team's culture. And I think that's a big point, that I understand Leinster culture or Leinster way of playing rugby or traditional way of playing rugby. It's very difficult if you want to impose a style of rugby that maybe it doesn't suit the history or the team itself. You know, it's like you can't play an Australian way of rugby in a South African team. You have to play the South African way. And I think that's important. And I think where I've talked to him, I think I believe I understand, or I lived more or less the Leinster way of understanding rugby, and I really love the way that Leinster take on or approach rugby. So for me, in that sense, it's quite straightforward in the way where I'm coming, and I think I hope it will be easier for me to adapt to a place and to a club that I more or less know what's about.
You're a very busy man, obviously, in Buenos Aires, so you're working with the Argentinian A's, as you said, or the second or third team, and you also, I think, certainly when you were here in studio a few years ago, you had a medical practice in Buenos Aires, so that takes up a huge amount of your time, I'm sure, as well. Have you been watching much of Leinster over the last year or two?
I've been watching. More I've been following rather than watching, because we don't have much coverage of the Pro 14 here. Just a few things, and every now and then I can download it from internet or so on. But I've been definitely following Leinster. I've always done since I left. But I think it's definitely the Heineken Cup or the European Championship, that I've seen it a lot, because it's on TV here in Argentina. So I think it's just it's one of those teams that people from other places apart from Leinster love watching and love the way they play rugby, you know. Yeah.
What players have impressed you? Obviously, I know you're very familiar with Johnny Sexton, and he's still playing some very, very good rugby, as we all know. Any of the younger players catch your eye?
There are a few, yeah, definitely. I think it's for respect of I'm coming as a coach. I don't like to give personal names, but definitely there are some young players and some that they've made their step into the Irish national team as well. And very young and thrilling, and I think there's a lot of competition for places, and that good competition is what makes teams really good, you know. So definitely I'm quite excited on getting to know, not only from what I watch those players, but to get them to know personally and see if I can give them something to improve them as a player and as a person as well, you know.
I'm sure your workload will be very big anyway. Do you have any intention of practicing any medicine when you come over to Dublin? I know you studied, obviously, when you were a player here, maybe just over a decade ago. Is it something that you'd like to keep your hand in with a little bit over here, or is that possible?
No, not really. The workload will be too much, and I think I have to concentrate and focus on what I've been asked to and I've been contracted to do. So, but definitely medicine is always there in terms of as in a team, in a rugby team, you are part of the sport medicine and always getting to understand and know different things. And also I'm part of the anti-doping consulting committee in World Rugby. So I've been doing that for a few years now, and then I'll continue doing that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that actually when you get over in some depth sometime. Be very interesting discussion to have. Life's kind of unpredictable. It's funny how it turns out. Have you been looking to get into coaching like this? The fact that you're working with the Argentinian setup suggests you have wanted to. Did you hope to go full time as a coach somewhere?
Well, I've decided this 2-3 years ago to have a go on the coaching side here in Argentina, and obviously I think to improve and to be a better coach, you need to have a different ways or different styles of rugby under your belt, and I think that Europe was a great chance. I've never expected the Leinster or being back in Dublin like that, but to be honest, when the opportunity came, for me it was like things happen for a reason, and you say, okay, there I am again in Dublin, and I feel thrilled for that,
Yeah, because I guess younger listeners may not realise, but you had such an impact on Leinster and the fans loved you, and you seemed to really genuinely enjoy Dublin and Dublin life as well. It worked very well first time around, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think it's. I've always say it's not about the place itself, but more so the people, and I think Irish people are special, and I always, for me, going back to Dublin is part of going back to that Irish culture that I love it, and when I've been there for 6 years, and I'm sure that I will enjoy it again in the second time there.
Anyone send you any messages? Your former teammates or former Leinster players or current players?
Yeah, I've had some messages already. I kept in contact with many of my friends, not only former players but also doctors and people that I've worked with and I've met. So I've received already a few messages.
Okay. Anything in particular jump out? I presume they're all just slagging you, basically. That's kind of how we work over here.
Yeah, well, I get back to them, and don't worry. I've learned how Irish humor, and I think I've got a few of that Irish humor as well.
Good. It's a term of endearment. Don't take it personally. So, well, listen, I know our time here is kind of brief. So, just to say, welcome back. It's going to be fun, and I guess we'll catch up with you when you arrive in the next couple of weeks. I know you'll have a busy time, but Felipe Contepomi back at Leinster. Good to have you with us. Thanks a million.
Hi, thank you very much.
Off the ball on News Talk.
It's one of the great London derbies, and it's coming to Dublin. Arsenal versus Chelsea, Aviva Stadium, Wednesday, August 1st. See the stars of two of the Premier League's leading teams as they do battle in the International Champions Cup. Tickets on sale now from Ticketmaster.ie. Booking fee applies. Don't miss out. Get your tickets early. Arsenal v Chelsea, August 1st. Kick-off 8:05 p.m.
News Talk's Happily Hired, brought to you by Jobio.
Find a job you love in one of the 6,000 companies hiring on Jobio today. Job alert. AlertWatch Security Systems are hiring a security systems engineer.